the indictment still wet with your blood. Judges on payroll, gavels banging like a flood. Solitary key, just 23-hour black. They want us to crack, but we breathe through the crack. Let us fill our dollars, but we'll pass the gods. Tell mommy I'm innocent. God, you burn the flag of freedom on a global.
Good afternoon, everyone. Shane Jenkins here with Liberty's Cage with
Sarah McAfee.
Thanks for tuning in with us. We're here at the America's First Warehouse. Happy to be here. You know, we love everybody up here, Joe and Teresa and everybody else. I can't name them all because we'll forget somebody. But it's always such a blessing to be here in New York.
Good Patriots up here.
Yeah, home away from home, it seems like. So thanks for having us, Joe, and everybody who's helping behind the scenes. We're back with the fresh episode of Liberty's Cage, and I think there's been a lot going on in the January 6th community. Do you want to talk about some of kind of maybe back us up a couple weeks?
Yeah, January 6th is a really hot topic right now, but just going back to the song that you heard, it's a new song that has come out this week by Don Neuen with Cowboy Logic. If you guys watch Real America's Voice, you'll be able to know who we're talking about. They have been huge advocates for January 6th defendants. I think they have done the most interviews, even behind bars. I mean, they've been covering this since the end of 2021, I think.
No, for sure. I go back and look on my Rumble channel, and I have like all my old interviews on there, and I'm like, golly, so many years ago, but it seems like the story's just remained the same. And so that's on the Cowboy Logic Rumble channel. The song is called Still There. I still don't know who's performing it, but Don's always cowboy hat. Don and Donna, both cowboy hat, cowboy boots all the time. And he was like, I got a song for you guys. And I was like, I kind of expect, well, maybe there's a country song about January 6th now, but when he brought it in, it was more like Avenged Sevenfold or some newer rock band. But I like it, and especially if you sit and watch the video and then read the words along with it. It's captioned alongside on their Rumble channel, and it's just really talking about so many things that so many Jan Sixers endured and encountered. And so I think,
and I will say, as an outsider looking in, I was not a January 6th defendant. I wasn't even there, and I didn't do any time like you all did. But hearing you all talk, there are things that have come up recently, just talking with you and going back and listening to all of these interviews, even done behind bars, and talking up here about Freedom Corner and you all calling out. There is so much that has happened over the last 4 years. It would even be hard to put it all into a movie, honestly, because I feel like it would be hours long and people would be bored, but it almost needs to come out in a series, because there's the life before January 6th, there's the day itself, and then life after January 6th, and now life after January 20th when President Trump pardoned everybody.
No, there is. It seems like every time I have a conversation with somebody about what went on or how the song got recorded or when we started calling out to the corner or just the different things that went on in there, I'll be like, man, I forgot about that. It's always like I've really tried to avoid going back to that place, because every time I hear the original anthem, Justice for All, with us singing it in there, it takes me right back to that place. And it's not like I don't want to go there, but I do cherish a lot of those memories that I have with those men and just those different moments that happened in there. And so,
well, and we've said it before, going back to when you all would be sentenced and sent off to federal prison, there was a distinct difference from when you were in D.C. in the gulag together, because you could uplift each other. You were going through so many different life things, and then when you went off to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, everything changed for you all. You felt like you were on an island.
Because it was like we were all like brothers right in there, and there was fights in there, and there was like, oh my gosh, I wish this dude would hurry up and leave. But it's like, since I've been home, I just really, even the people that I'm not going to mention names, that I didn't get along with, that or gave me a difficult time, it seemed like it has been good to see those people, and it's been pleasant to be around even those people who I would be like, that would, out of the top, let me make a top 5 of who I don't want to ever see again after this is over. And even those people, it kind of warms my heart to be able to see them and be around them. And so, speaking of January 6th, there's been a recent revelation, which we've all told you all this, the 274 FBI agents in plain clothes in the crowd on January 6th, when we told you they were there. And this just kind of skims the surface for me, because I know any 3-letter agency, whether it's even the Park Service, the CIA, DIA, NSA, DHS, HHS, all these different entities who have some sort of law enforcement network, typically have ATF or whoever's in alcohol, tobacco, firearms. They have not only their agents, which are probably all based in D.C., and I'm sure every branch had members in the crowd, so not just the 274 FBI, but I'm also thinking about, I've been seeing people exposing people the last day or two of they are government assets. They are, just like the FBI has handlers that handle these people who are cooperative individuals or snitches or whatever you want to call them, but they basically help the FBI generate federal cases against people. And some of those cases, like, they go around shopping these things to people who may or may not have their morals straight, and then they get these people who aren't even in the life of crime to commit to something because it was too good to be true, and then they get caught up in it. But they have those people there in the crowd generating leads for future arrests for January 6 people and doing nefarious things. They're on the government payroll as a paid informant snitch, and you go to the Capitol, and now you go inside the building. So you're not only helping manufacture this event into something greater, but you're also on the payroll of the government that you're doing this with and against. And so I think it brings up some interesting avenues to expose people, but I think we got to look bigger than just, okay, we got the FBI. Well, how many informants did you have on the ground? Let's have that. Let's just give a number. You don't have to expose all of them, but tell us how many hundreds of informants you had on the ground. And then let's go to the next closest department. Let's just say the CIA. If they felt like there was really a domestic terror threat that day, then surely the CIA had people on the ground, and I'm sure they had assets in the ground. So I just think there is a broader picture that we kind of need to focus in on. But it seems like there's been some new information that came out in the last day or two. If you want to talk a bit about Steve Baker's revelation.
So Steve Baker has unveiled who we are 99% sure is the pipe bomber, and we didn't know her name, but we've known for quite a while that it was a female, that it was somebody with some sort of law enforcement experience. We had heard Capitol Police, but it's just a revelation that you have somebody like Steve Baker, who was an independent journalist, went to January 6th to cover it, was persecuted, perp walked, who has done probably more than any other person has done to uncover the atrocity of January 6th. And it's mind-blowing that even now the FBI has it out on the most wanted. You have a $500,000 reward, and they have yet to make a statement.
Right. Well, it was revealed that Steve Baker came out with that. Well, they haven't even made a statement. And then I was like, why don't we try to find out if the FBI has followed up since he's made this revelation? Have they reached out to him? Have they made a good faith effort to say, we would love to see the evidence and how you came to the conclusion that this is who it was, because that way we can replicate it in court or whatever. But we found out that they have not reached out. They don't care. We're still waiting on Cash. I love Cash Patel, man, but you said day one FBI headquarters was going to be a museum and going to be shut down, and I'm just feeling like...
But how many months did it take for Cash's three-letter agency bring back the whistleblowers and to reinstate them? And the public announcement that they were reinstated, I don't even know if they're truly reinstated yet.
I don't know any of them that have said I've officially been reinstated at all.
Yeah. And the scary part is we've been in this administration for going on 11 months now, and this is still what's happening. I mean, my hope is when this administration came in, they would have done their due diligence over the last 4 years and immediately rolled out the 2020 election and COVID and January 6th and what happened to school board moms and all of these atrocities, our border, everything that has happened, to say, here's the evidence, and immediately started the firing. I mean, there's still people involved that were involved with January 6th in this new administration.
Yeah. No, I'm just sitting here thinking about, like, we're talking about the pipe bomber. They haven't made an arrest yet, but we're pretty, like, 94% sure who it is due to this technology that they use to determine the measurements of their gait and their walk and all that, which is pretty scientific. But they haven't made an arrest. And then, I think deeper than that, okay, well, she definitely didn't just do this on her own, right? Why do you need pipe bombs outside the RNC and the DNC on January 6th, unless you're hoping to create this fake oh my gosh moment, great, worse than 9/11, worse than Pearl Harbor, worse than the Civil War, all combined, January 6th. But this is what my personal opinion is. The plan was, inorganically create this riot, attack the crowd, have the police, whatever. So, and that typically worked to get people to respond. But if that didn't work, then what?
There were so many different layers.
Well, so that doesn't work. So everybody just chills out, nobody does anything. Well, then what do? They're like, oh, we've got to stop this vote on this issue. So somebody put pipe bombs outside the RNC and the DNC. So we're going to have to shut down voting, and we're probably just going to need to go ahead and certify the election before somebody really gets hurt. You see these MAGA extremists? You see they put these pipe bombs out there? They're going to try to kill some people. So we need to just cancel count, and we just need to go ahead and vote on this and certify the election. In my opinion, is what the plan.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I want to know why we're not playing with their rules that they have. They identified somebody by their ears, a January 6th defendant, and arrested them and threw them in jail. And they arrested people right after January 6th, threw them in jail, and they had no due process for 2.5 years while the government built a case against you. They didn't have the case built before they came and raided your house with the FBI and threw you into solitary confinement. So why are we giving these people the benefit of the doubt to build a case and to do a speedy trial within 75 days?
No, I mean, I agree. Believe me, I completely agree, and it's just so frustrating. We lived through all of that, and to see it's just always slow when the people are being held to account. It's quick and swift justice or injustice, but it always seems like when it's some of our betters or these deep state operatives or bad actors, elites, whoever you want to call them, connected people. It just seems like it's really hard to hold these people to account, and I think until America has accountability, there's going to continue to be this erosion of trust in our government. Everything is going to be perceived as a conspiracy theory because we already don't believe anything you say. You poisoned our water, poisoned our drugs. But we'll be back in just a moment to talk more about January 6th and some of the things coming down the pipe for us at Stand in the Gap. See you in a minute.
Most people think they have options when searching for the best deals when they travel. But here's the shocking truth. 100% of the major travel agencies are owned by just two entities, Expedia and Booking Holdings. They claim to offer the lowest rates, but due to the hotel rate parity agreement, they all have the same pricing, limiting genuine competition. When you book through these sites, you act as your own travel agent, but the profits are going to organizations that don't support our patriot values. We cannot allow that to continue. So, we decided to make travel great again by starting a US-based travel membership platform, mypatriottravel.com. We are patriots helping patriots. Together, we can disrupt the travel industry by not spending our hard-earned dollars supporting the radical left. For just $29.99 per month, you gain access to true wholesale rates on travel, saving you on average 35% and up to 65%. Book as often as you like, with no limits. Keep your hard-earned dollars in your pocket and spend them on things you need and want to support. Go to mypatriottravel.com/TAFW and grab your membership today. mypatriottravel.com/TAFW, making travel great again.
Hey, fellow patriots, it's Cindy Gross here, host of Right for America, from your favorite place, the America First Warehouse. You've seen me show on my show so many products from this country's #1 most patriotic manufacturer with close to 400 products. You need to exchange the products you use in your house to this company and make your dollars count in our country.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
The America First Warehouse, a beacon for all to see, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free. In the America First Warehouse, we're all
Welcome back to Liberty's Cage. I am your host, Sarah McAbee, along with my co-host, Shane Jenkins. We are at the wonderful America First Warehouse in Long Island. And I do want to say, coming back off of our break, I'm sick and tired of us taking the high road. Conservatives, Republicans, whatever you want, we never play by their playbook. We are always steps behind. And the thing is like there are American lives at stake right now. People are dying. Like we say all the time, we're concerned about the suicide rate in the January 6th community because you guys are really struggling. We still have 12 individuals that have not been pardoned, but they've only been commuted. And just as of yesterday or today, President Trump signed pardons for, I believe, 70 individuals for the election integrity in the 2020 election. But there's a holdup on January 6th, and there's always been people around President Trump that have said, oh, it doesn't look good for you. January 6th is the largest scandal in American history, and I am a concerned citizen that this is never going to fully come out what January 6th was. And we've always said the whole reason why we even started Stand in the Gap was because we want to make sure that this never happens again to American citizens. And this wasn't about the last 4 years, it's about the next 250 years. And I truly want the answer. Why do we not play by their rules?
No, I mean, well, when you say their rules, I think it's the uniparty rules, and if they have a set of rules that they use for themselves and their peers, and the American people are left behind. It's really them and us.
Yeah, it's them versus us, but I will say the Democrat Party comes out in full force. Yeah. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors and what they talk about. When they come out, they are unified. Yeah. The Republicans are constantly fighting, and that's why we get nothing done.
Well, I think, I'm just trying to sit here and think about when do you feel like was the last time that we really knew the truth about. There's so many events I can think of, like, that really, there's just never accountability. Like, we hear all this stuff about 9/11, about the third building falling that was not hit by an airplane, and all, like, the dancing Israelis and all these different things, like all these conspiracy theories around all this stuff, and I don't ever really feel like I feel like we still don't know the truth about JFK. How long has that been? That was before.
Well, that's when the word conspiracy theorist came around.
Yeah. And so there is a lacking in transparency just in general from our government, who supposedly works for us, but it seems like we're the only ones that aren't allowed to really know what's going on. Like how many, they said something would be, I forget what they said, would be released in 50 years from now, and I don't know what it was, documents around Jason, I don't know what it was. It was something, one of these hot topics that is a conspiracy. Now it's going to be sealed for another 50 years before the American people can see it.
Well, it's not only the government operating in the middle of the night, it's the media that will go in and lie under the mockingbird with what Obama put into place, or the Smith-Mundt Act that he redid, so that the media can continue to lie to the American people. And then people that do come out that have podcasts that speak the truth are suppressed or they're canceled. Right. And that's really all the American people want, is real information. And now it has come out that the BBC, with the top executives stepping down, that they edited Trump's speech on January 6th, and now they're saying the same thing with CNN. Yep. And so at what point do they forget that they work for us, for one, but at what point are Americans going to rise up and take their own country back?
You're sounding a little insurrection-y to me. I don't know.
We're not going to the Capitol.
No, it's serious. I think the American people fail to realize the power that you have. Like, we lend our votes to Congress and we lend our votes to the senators, but they work for us, and they're really, I think that's the beauty of, like, even just this situation, the lies that the media told, like the BBC manipulating the clip related to January 6th and President Trump, like, that's the reason we're even sitting here today. Is I'm not a podcaster, you're not a podcaster, but we're in a studio that hosts a bunch of podcasts and that were never on TV before. But I think it's because of really President Trump kind of exposing the lying, and the way they manipulate videos to take it out of context or to not show you the whole truth. Instead of just giving you, really, they should just show you the facts, and it shouldn't be spun one way or another.
So that's the way the news used to be. If you go back and listen to old radio clips of an individual talking about the news, it was very monotoned, and it was just facts, and then it allowed you to form an informed opinion But now all you have, you don't even have people that understand what they're talking about. They just spew headlines.
Right. Well, yeah, and it's the talking point. I love the side by side of all the corporate media people saying like whatever, the same line, but it's all exactly repeated over and over and over and over by each one of them. It's the Mockingbird media, Operation Mockingbird, and they get their. I would like to know who gives them their show notes. Like every show, these are the keywords you're going to use over and over again, and this is going to be all over all the channels. So.
Well, I think it's those people that hide behind the curtain. Talked about Wizard of Oz and all of that. We don't even see these people. The ones that, I mean, the people in Congress, most of them are puppets, and they're also being told what to do from people that hide behind the curtain.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, so we talked about the song Still There earlier. We also have something excited from Stand in the Gap, the J6 Prison Choir, LJ Fino. And if you guys in the booth can play our last remaining asset, we have this little teaser coming out. And that's just a teaser, you know, that's the first, I guess, I don't know what you call that, stanza, verse. I'm not a musician, but I mean, I am a platinum recording artist, though you wouldn't know
And you should know this.
by my singing.
I thought you carried this whole choir, is what you said earlier today.
That award. But no, I think that was high res with the J6 Prison Choir put together by LJ Fino, and Stand in the Gap. We just kind of orchestrated that. We wanted the guys to have something to pass down to their kids, but we also wanted to do, after like hearing the, Justice for All so many times, and I was talking about this earlier, it just takes me back to that place. And I want us to have a version that kind of was done after the fact, so we can say, you know, that was us inside, but this is also us gathering together outside. In this little commentary, and maybe there might be some stuff coming, like a documentary. There might be some other stuff happening with that. But
yeah, and I think Mickey Whithoff, Ashley Babbitt's mom, who was down there with us and a part of this, she said it best. It was your all's battle cry. And now there's the freedom version, since you all have been out, and really Anthem of the Free came about because people still don't know about January 6th, and everything that we do is to raise awareness. Honestly, it's to raise awareness, you know, about the struggle that continues on. Like we said earlier, a lot of people don't know that not everybody was pardoned. And, you know, we talked about this the other day on Cowboy Logic, but when you're not pardoned, there's two individuals that can't get their medical license back. One's a neurosurgeon and one's a chiropractor. They're still listed on Interpol as domestic terrorists, so they can't go pick their child up from school. And going into the holidays, they're not even going to be able to attend their child's Thanksgiving or Christmas play. And they can't get jobs because they're listed as felons. And none of them had violent charges. They just
not
had
just
the
your average
conspiracy
felonies
charge.
either. They have like seditious conspiracy kind of thing or whatever. And they're just not able to, they shouldn't be still having, it's hard enough out here after dealing with all the trauma and all that other stuff, but to be out here, but then to not, like they've never had to operate, these guys have never been felons before. They don't know how to operate in that world, find employment, and they're still technically probably labeled domestic terrorists, still have seditious conspiracy convictions on their thing. And so that's part of our mission here, is to get the word to President Trump. And not only that, but Benjamin Martin and Dan Wilson. Dan Wilson's still in custody of the federal government for gun charges stemming from his January 6th arrest, which there's plenty of precedent, even in just the J6 pardon realm, that are precedent that would have Dan Wilson be released. There's a judge that's contrary to President Trump and the MAGA movements. Yeah, so he wants to keep the guy in there. There's another guy about to go in, and then there's also Officer Shane Lamond. Yeah. We are trying to help these people who are our brother and sister and who were faithful to the movement. And it's just a sad thing to see that, like, how long have we been screaming this and it still hasn't changed? So
right, there's so many facets to January 6th, and I say every time I do a speech or a podcast, our ask is for people to get involved and to truly wake up. People sit at home and they're like, we spew all of this information and they get angry and they get upset. Well, what can you do? There's so many things that people can do. Just do your part.
Right.
Do your part. We've had so many people come to us with various ideas, and we're like, okay, how can we make this work? And it's important. I mean, America is at stake. Just because President Trump is sitting in the White House right now doesn't mean that the last 4 years didn't happen.
Right. No, for sure. We have been presented some new opportunities to help our supporters, help January 6ers, help get something good for yourself, and then in turn help yourselves and your families. And we're going to have a guy, Todd Collins, on here shortly to talk about some of what those are. But we're excited. I mean, I'm excited about it. I've already been a guy who's been into gold and silver. I invested some of my money while I was in jail in gold and silver, and it is both silver and gold have doubled since then, and that was like the last 2.5 years. So I believe in it. So it's not something that I'm going to try to tell you guys, you should be doing this whenever. I don't have any idea what I'm talking about. I've done it, and it has paid I haven't cashed it in, but when I do, it is going to pay dividends. We know you're listening, IRS, so just calm down.
I thought that was supposed to be abolished.
I did too. So do we know have they demolished anything that they said they were going to yet?
Absolutely not.
Okay, well, hopefully, if you guys stand with us, the Jan 6 community, and stand in the gap, we are going to fight to get some of these things changed, not only for us, but for future generations moving forward. So we will be back with more. We're going to have Todd Collins, and we're going to have Joe the Box too, but don't tell anybody.
Have you noticed your money just doesn't stretch like it used to? Your paycheck feels lighter, and your savings aren't growing. The culprits? Inflation and increased money supply. They've both been quietly eating away at your purchasing power for years. Today, the dollar's value has dropped significantly. You feel it every time you spend money on goods and services. Back in 1965, $1 or an ounce of silver could buy you a gallon of milk. Fast forward to today. That same dollar barely buys a couple of coffee creamers, while an ounce of silver would get you 8 gallons of milk. Gold and silver have held their value for centuries. If you had 2,500 ounces of silver back in 1965, you could buy a brand new Ford Mustang. Today, 2,500 ounces of silver would buy you 2 Mustangs. Similarly, in the year 2000, 628 ounces of gold would buy a new $170,000 home. Today, 628 ounces would buy you a $2,500,000 home. The problem? 95% of Americans don't own physical gold or silver. They think it's too complicated and too expensive, but it doesn't have to be. We offer a membership program that allows you to buy gold or silver with as little as $1. You can buy fractional amounts, safely vault them, or have them delivered to your doorstep, and you can liquidate them whenever you want at the highest buyback price in the industry. Ready to protect your wealth and keep your purchasing power? Scan the QR code or go to tafw.soundmoney.com to learn more.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
It's me, Joe the Box. And I'm John the Blanket with the America First Podcast.
That's what I'm talking about. The Fred Rubino Podcast coming to you from the America First Warehouse.
Welcome to Right for America. Issues that unite, don't ignite.
I'm James Justice. We got Stephen Ruth over here. What are we doing, Steve? Fighting! Welcome to the Patriots Podcast. Good evening, everyone. We live stream every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. right here from the America First Warehouse, the most patriotic venue in all the land.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the On the Right Side podcast here at the America First Warehouse in Long Island, New York.
Welcome to Liberty's Cage, the podcast tearing down the walls of America's broken justice system.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Downey Jr. podcast. Be free, stay free.
Welcome to Suffocating in Suburbia with me, your host, Stevie GB.
Good afternoon, everybody. Shane Jenkins here with Sarah McAfee. Wait a second. You're not Sarah McAfee.
I am not.
You never know how these little people can get out of here. You never know where they go. But no, I'm actually here with Todd Collins from
soundmoney.info.
There you go. Okay, soundmoney.info. He's got some interesting things to talk about, and I was just kind of sharing while I was locked up for January 6th. I didn't know if the world was going to devolve into chaos, and so I watch a lot of Bannon. He's a fiscal hawk and really talks a lot about the undermining of the U.S. dollar and how we flood the zone with all those dollars, and it devalues every dollar that you have in your pocket. And so I think what was kind of reinforced to me was that these precious metals are going to maintain value, if not grow to be worth more. So I just felt passion. I didn't know what was going to happen with Jan 6, if I was going to get a life sentence, what was going to happen, but I wanted to make sure that my children were taken care of at home and that they would have a little stash. If something went bad, they would have some hard currency to barter with or whatever they need to do. So, but I'm here with Todd. I just kind of give us a little bit about who Todd Collins is and how we came to meet Joe the Box and all that, and drop my phone.
Well, thank you, Shane. Thank you for having me on today. I appreciate the opportunity to come here. As you mentioned right before the break, you guys have an opportunity to help a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that you're helping. And at this point in time, I think you did a great thing when you decided to put some money into silver and gold. As you said, it's gone up exponentially over the last couple of years, and that's accurate. My wife and I started buying gold and silver back in 2020, early 2021, and silver spot price then was about $19 an ounce, and today it's just over $50 an ounce. And it took a little bit of education for me to really understand why I wanted to get away from dollars and start buying precious metals. And somebody did a little analogy with me or told me a little story that, if it's okay with you, I'd like to share with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so here's the thing. In 1965, $1 you could also buy 1 ounce of silver. Okay. So these were two interchangeable currencies at that time. So an ounce of silver could be bought with $1, and at that time you could also buy a gallon of milk for $1 just about anywhere in the United States.
That's crazy.
Okay, and then we had inflation that kind of went bananas through the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and so on. It's just never really stopped. Inflation continues to eat away at the buying power of the dollar. And to illustrate that, because of inflation in 2018, Shane, that $1 bill won't buy a gallon of milk anymore. It might get you a pint of milk. All right, but at that time in 2018, that 1 ounce of silver then would buy about 5 gallons of milk because of the new value of silver at that point in time. That's pretty exciting. And then, as you just mentioned very astutely, our government, in response to COVID and some of the other things that were going on between 2020 and 2024, printed trillions of dollars. It was $1.1 trillion for just the COVID relief checks that were sent out, the stimulus checks. And then they printed several $1 trillion in the years that followed that to continue for relief efforts around the world. As a matter of fact, in 2025, our government's printed about $1.4 trillion. So they just keep printing money, and that keeps driving the national debt up. But what that's done to the value of the dollar is atrocious. Now, for $1 in 2025, you might be lucky to get a couple coffee creamers. But with that 1 ounce of silver, do you know how many gallons of milk you can buy? 10.
Okay.
So really clearly, this illustrates that the dollar has not done well with its buying power, but silver and gold are a great asset to hold on to. It's an insurance against inflation and monetary supply, the increased monetary supply. So with that, it's become my mission to just help educate everybody. And then there's a lot of barriers to entry, which I know you want to talk about as well. Problematic.
That's what I was kind of wondering. Like, I have seen it, and I know some of my family members are kind of keen on it. I prefer to be diversified, whether it's crypto, stock market, and then some gold and silver, for instance, is what I would pick. But so what is the barrier to keeping more people from getting into gold and silver or to the precious metals?
Yeah, that's a great question too. And first of all, 95% of Americans don't own any silver or gold. When I heard that number a few years ago, it shocked me. You know, I know some people that have silver and gold, but the majority of them are extremely wealthy, and that's been the number one barrier to entry. Is that it was an industry that was set up to be taken advantage of by rich and famous people or by governmental institutions who are the largest holders of silver and gold in the world, right. Banks, things like that. So if they're buying it, they know something that we all need to know. But were you educated in high school or any other form of education on buying silver and gold?
Not really.
My parents didn't teach me that. My financial advisor didn't teach me that. Sure didn't learn it in high school or college. And I've had a saying for a long time that financial planners won't advise you to buy silver and gold for two reasons. One, they can't make a commission on it, right? It's illegal for them to get paid a commission on silver and gold. So last time I checked, every financial planner I know is paid on commission. So they can't earn a commission. Why in the world would they give you that advice, right?
Never thought about
the other problem, which brings me to my saying, is they're extremely ignorant to gold and silver and how it can actually be that hedge against inflation and protect your assets. It's insurance against failure of the dollar, which we are watching the dollar fail. And as a result of that, my saying is, or it's not my saying, I pirated it from somebody, is that ignorance is bliss. You've heard that statement. Yeah. And it is. And the financial planners, their ignorance is bliss, but their ignorance is going to cost you and the rest of Americans a lot of money. Right. And I'm not willing to sit back and just let that happen.
Well, I think, for me, I've kind of been on this ever since the whole, I felt like the 2020 stolen election and all this, I've kind of been on like this doomsday clock, like how bad are things going to get? And even just for me, at minimum, I wanted to have some gold and silver on hand, because if, let's say, the dollar hyperinflation comes back, the dollar's worth zero. Now how do you maneuver through society? Because there's going to be goods you're going to need to buy, fuel, you're going to need to buy these things, and if you don't have some type of currency, then you're going to be screwed. You know, I feel like if the digital credit cards and all that crashes, or the dollars are worth nothing, you're going to have something to trade in. And so we've established that there is a barrier, but so what is
that? Was just one of them.
What is the answer to, like, how can and how do, and maybe why should people get involved?
Right. So the other barriers to entry, we talked about it being a rich man's game. It's also very difficult to insure or store your silver and gold at your own home. If you live in a bad neighborhood, that's a little spooky, because who knows is going to knock on your door and want that silver and gold, so they have it in their hands instead of yours. If you try and list it on your insurance, your premiums go through the roof. But the biggest one everybody asks me on a daily basis is, if I have silver and gold, how do I spend it? I can't just walk into the grocery store and say, here's an ounce of silver. And you hit the nail on the head. In the event that we end up in a barter system type economy, I know right now, I live in South Carolina, my wife and I do, and if the dollar goes to nothing, I can take some silver out of my safe and I can walk across the street. My neighbor's got cows and chickens and things like that, and I can feed my family if I trade her a little bit of silver for eggs and bacon or whatever. So that's great. But the solution really needed to be bigger than that. We needed to have a platform that was created, and we've done that. There's a company called Sound Money, and they've partnered with myself, and I'm partnering with you guys through America First Warehouse, and you're actually able to buy silver and gold incrementally. Challenge right now is, if I want to buy an ounce of gold, it's about $4,300. It's 4,000 spot today, about $4,300 to buy basically any piece of gold out there in a 1 ounce increment. And silver's sitting right at 50. I think I said that before. Well, if I'm an American and I don't have $4,300 to buy an ounce of gold right now, I got to sit on the sidelines. I don't have an opportunity. And what the Sound Money account allows us to do is buy fractionally, and you can actually buy gold with as little as $1 at a time, whether that's a day, a week, or a month. So whatever Americans' budgets are, they can set aside a little bit and start paying themselves first and start acquiring gold and silver. It can be vaulted in Sound Money, where it's insured and inspected and accounted for, audited every day. In addition to that, back to the big question, what do I do? How do I spend it? Well, with Sound Money Wallet, we have the ability to liquidate your gold and silver with a couple clicks of a button right back to cash at whatever that current value is, and Sound Money actually offers the highest buyback in the industry.
Okay, that sounds like a good incentive for me, because it is, you're getting charged if you're buying, and when you're selling, you're getting really taxed on kind of both ends of it, especially if I went through like a bulk wholesaler or something like that. But so I just have a question, and you may or may not know the answer to this question, but About how much does a gold or a silver appreciate, or on average, like what is it? I know you said, I guess it was about the same time you got in, I got in, and I think it was like 21 for silver per ounce, and then it was like 1,700 for the gold per ounce. But what is it? What percentage would you say?
There isn't an answer to that question. It's basically the spot price of silver and gold are determined by a lot of factors, and just like a stock would be or a bond would be, that value is going to move up and down based on the collateral that day and the demand for that collateral. So the spot price of silver has gone in 2020 from $18, $19, $20 an ounce up to around $50 today. So it's a little over 2 times what it was worth back then. And gold's gone from the low 2000s up to right around $4,000 an ounce right now. So you could say in the last 4 or 5 years it's appreciated 100% or 150% almost for silver, but there's no way to predict what it's going to be tomorrow. That said, as inflation continues to increase and the monetary supply continues to increase, the price of silver and gold generally will be a hedge against that, and it's a flight to safety, so that they should continue hypothetically to go up. And I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not trying to give anybody advice. I do want you to know that with the website splash page that we've built for Stand in the Gap, which is soundmoney.info/stand in the gap, and that's going to be running across the screen, I'm sure, during your broadcast here. The people that watch you, your viewership, can actually hop online. They can buy a lifetime membership to Sound Money, very cheap lifetime membership. We'll vault that silver and gold form for free, physical silver and gold, or we'll ship that directly to them. And as I said, if they need to liquidate it, they can do it at the highest buyback in the industry.
Okay, I like that. So they're going to be technically helping January 6 people, because we're going to take a portion of what we earn through that, and we're going to donate it back into the foundation, which is going to in turn roll over and help January 6ers right now. We're moving some different avenues with that. We've got about a minute left. Is there anything else you wanted that we maybe didn't touch on that you think is important?
There's a lot. Inside of your Sound Money wallet, once you get your membership, 2 options that exist in there that I think every one of your listeners should do is go right into your back office. There's a university in there that we've created, an education platform, and there's a buyer certification training and a collector certification training. It's about a 2-hour training session between the two of them. You can do it at your own pace, but that's going to teach your people how to go from that industry's just got a little spooky, I don't understand it, to having a very clear understanding, which will then, you're now educated and you can decide what you want to buy, what's best to put in your portfolio. And I think that's one of the bigger assets that are in there, is that education platform. And lastly, Joe and I are going to be doing a podcast every week starting, I think, in early December, where we're going to be doing a weekly training and education platform to teach your listeners, and they can all chime in on that as well.
Okay. Well, yes, I'll be looking for Joe the Box and Todd Collins. I got a bug flying around me. I don't know what's going on. But we'll be back right after this with more America First Warehouse, Liberty's Cage, and Joe the Box coming soon.
You've worked hard and saved, but inflation and increased money supply are eroding your buying power. Protect and grow your wealth with physical gold and silver. Sound Money. With a Sound Money wallet, your wealth stays in your control. Buy fractionally, vault securely, ship directly, and instantly liquidate your gold and silver at the highest buyback price in the industry. Real money, real ownership. Visit tafwsoundmoney.info or scan the QR code and start securing your financial future today.
The America First Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA Store.
Live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
Corporate transfer. Fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
Welcome back to Liberty's Cage. I'm your host, Sarah Maccabee, and I am with a dear friend, Joe the Box. And as in the segment before, Shane made a short joke about me. I will take the higher road and not make a tall joke about him. But Joe, thanks for joining me.
Oh, I got plenty of material on Shane. We can get him easy.
No, we can't use that on TV. We don't want to get you banned.
Wow, what an honor to be here with you, Sarah Maccabee, my friend.
No, the honor is all yours. Thank you for always welcoming us and loving us every time we come up here. It is, honestly, it's always a highlight to come up here.
We have enjoyed your presence here at the warehouse many times. I don't know when the first time was, but I loved it when Donna came to the warehouse. And I had the stage set. I had just gotten that judge's bench, witness stand, and a few legal tables out of a law office that we moved. And they wanted me to throw it out, but I kept it and I used it for that show. Do you remember that?
Oh, absolutely.
And I didn't really put it together well. Somebody leaned on it and almost fell over. But what a great show, and bringing awareness to January 6th, which is something that you do every day, and I am grateful for that.
No, absolutely. It's the cause that is near and dear to our heart. So let's go back. How did you get involved with January 6th?
Well, there was a time when President Trump, we were always rallying, we were watching his, always having a great time with, one more step, you're going to fall off the stage, watching the primaries, and just watching Trump in general was fantastic. And then as a president, he was way beyond our belief. And then it came time for the re-election, and obviously we all saw it, and the truth comes out every day. They were lying, cheating, stealing. It's what Democrats do, lie, cheat, and steal. Set us up, hurt us, burn us, many, many ways. So I remember Trump saying, hey, come on down to January 6th. And we had a pretty good crowd. We'd come down here and everybody was, Joe, let's go, let's go. And I honestly thought about it. I would say that some people in the organization, like T-Mac, had got buses to go down. People have really, from the America First Warehouse. But then I said that I would do much more justice for the people that cannot go by opening up the warehouse, opening up the TVs and stuff. So we were there, and the moment when I heard shots fired, I knew we were set up. I knew it. I watched Virginia rally with guns. I've watched Trump rallies, thousands and thousands of people. Never was there one incident. There was nobody there. My face fell off. So, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. Did you see this face there? I call it the anti-Antifa. I can't stand them. So I had blown away by that. And then I went down to CPAC with a group of people. And I saw this long-haired hippie guy, Gary McBride, real freaky looking, and he had Ashley Babbitt's picture on a shirt, said "murdered by shotgun" or something like that, right? And then I saw Mickey and Nicole. I didn't know who they were. I thought they were all part of the, this whole thing. But I did know that Mickey was Ashley's mom, and that they were looking for people to come down to the Freedom Corner and pray, and to talk to the prisoners. So I couldn't believe it. I grabbed some of my big influence friends. We got in a van, the Ultra MAGA van, and we drove down to the jail at 9 o'clock or whatever time the festivities started. And we were in the front of the jail looking around going, we was asked to come. I don't get it. We didn't get it. So the first night at CPAC, we missed it. Fortunately for us, the next night it was raining really hard. I mean, it was freezing and raining. So many of the people that I had the night before, they're not tough, you might say, or whatever. It didn't feel the passion that I did, but there was a handful of us that did, including Johnny Blanket, Matt and Margie were with me, and a few other Patriots that I brought down to CPAC wanted to see it. Mike Loftus, I think, might have been. I'm not really sure. But some of the Patriots went down there. Steve Schmidt, I think it was. Raining cold. There was a little tent set up. There was a little speaker talking, a little heater, and I listened and watched as they rattled off the names of every American that was in jail. And I was like, wow, this is unbelievable, as it kept going on and on. Then I got to know them a little bit, and I started asking questions because I wanted to help. And they were rolling their eyes. Sure, you're going to help, you're going to help. I said, no, I really want to help. So I understood that they were coming from a house about an hour and a half or 2 hours away. Do you recall that house?
Every day they would travel that one way.
Yes, that's right. And then forget about the traffic in D.C. But they would lug their equipment down, 4 of them, whoever it was, in and out of the house. A lot of effort, a lot of hard work. And I said, why? It was simple. My wife and I have incredible credit ratings. So I said, I found a house in Zillow, not far from the D.C. Gulag. And I said to Mickey or Nicole, I said, I got this house, it's yours. Can you make the payments? It was like, I don't know, half of what they were paying. They were blown away. And so I went down with the van another time and loaded them up, left them a van. No, I left them one of my trucks because I couldn't stay down there for the period of time. We wanted to go from one to the other. So Gary and Tommy Potato and the rest of the team, they used my van and wound up, that house fell through. We got them another one, so they had to sleep in these little motels. Somebody was helping them along the way. I assume it was God, and I also assume it was you, Sarah, that kept them, at least sheltered for the week or 10 days that they lost. We were able to get the other house. The other house I should have gave you, I got some pictures and videos of it. It's an actual white house. It had like 3 floors, 5 bedrooms in it with 2 bathrooms.
And the number was 1,700.
I didn't know that.
Yes. That's why we called it the White House.
I do recall that number, the address, but the White House is 1,600.
Oh, so was it 1,600 then?
Yeah, 1,600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But I don't
we won't
know
give out the address.
The address of the White House. But I don't care. There's little eye winks of God throughout that whole 900 some odd days that we were there. So I was able to get them into the house, and they were always my friend. I wanted to do things for them because my brother lost his son. And it was one of the hardest things to do, to see. And my heart bleeds for anybody that loses a child, and especially at such a young age. And Ashley was no different. So there was an immediate bond between my brother John and Mickey, a friendship that developed pretty quickly. I kind of dug Gary, even though he was kind of weird to look at. But, he was a pretty cool dude from Texas, gas and oil and stuff. And he was sincere in his heart. Some other people, not so much. But these 3 women were, and they really cared, and they still do. I care for them so much, that I speak to them all the time. I just wanted to bring awareness to the house, and I don't know how able I was to do that, but I am now, because through the grace of God, we're building the America First Media and Television, and my goal and main focus here is to help the people from the house, in particular Mickey, Nicole Reffett, and Tammy Perryman as well, because they were there. There was also another toy soldier down there. Was a little Sherry, very aggressive Marine. She wanted to bite my ankle every time I went down there. One time her dog ran away from the house. Shade, I don't know if you knew that. It was crazy. And that wacko guy that came out of jail, Brandon, right? If you ever saw Rocky trying to catch a chicken, we had to try and catch her dog, and I gave up. I said, I don't care about the dog. All of a sudden it wasn't that important. I was exhausted, and this guy Brandon chased it down like a chicken, caught it in the corner, grabbed the dog, and saved the day. She was still mad at everybody, but emotions were up there. Everybody was getting out of jail, I think, on that day. But this guy got out a little earlier. Do you remember?
He had served his time.
What a psycho! So one time, is that what it was? He served his time. So he wears an ice jacket to CPAC. I mean, I said, this guy is fantastic, you know. And then another time I went down there on Ashley's birthday, and I took the whole crew to the Capitol, right? And I got the Ultra MAGA, Make America First, Ashley Babbitt, we love her, on the side of the van. And we're driving down there, and I see the sign says no commercial traffic, but I did know I shouldn't be down there. But they wanted to get close. I had to get them close, and as soon as I got close, we parked on the side of the road, this little entrance. I guess Congress offices are at one building, and then you got the Capitol on the other building, and they wanted to place flowers up on the steps, which I was very honored to be there for that. But I had to sit by the van because I didn't want anybody to steal it. And the SWAT team came in, Capitol Police all over the place. And there's Brendan. He was on his motorcycle, so he pops a wheelie and gets out of there. Hey, I ain't sticking around. I said, thanks, Brendan. He pops a wheelie, goes down. It's a right away. You got any weapons? And I know that Sarah Carpenter's weapon was a rosary. I got one hanging off my windshield. I know Sarah Carpenter's weapon was a tambourine. I might have a tambourine in my warehouse too, in my office. You know, so I really could have been in trouble, but I wasn't. You know, they came in, they looked at me, I told them what I was doing. Then, of course, as they came back, one of them in the crowd started yelling at the police, and I said, please, I'm not there for that. We don't have to. They're giving us an opportunity to leave. I shouldn't have been there. But the house has been a very special time, special place for those people, and we have a great way, Sarah, to help them now through the, I guess, partnerships that we have with a few organizations that I know Shane touched a little bit about it, and you'll continue to touch about it. We have to help each other. That's the only way to do it. Nobody's going to come in and swing and save the day. Donald Trump's probably the only one. I am blessed to be your friend, and God moves me in these ways, and I ask him every day for his vision, and I ask him every day for his guidance, and he's made you one of my great friends, Sarah Maccabee, and I love you for that.
Well, the honor is all mine, honestly. You have been a godsend, not only to me, but to Shane, the Foundation, January 6 defendants. And I will say, as I said earlier, our ask is always for people to do their part. And Joe, you are a prime example of doing your part. You got the house for them. You have this wonderful warehouse where you raise awareness and you allow people to come in and share their stories, share their testimony. This weekend we were able to honor our veterans. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being an unafraid American patriot, allowing us to have Liberty's Cage on your media platform that is launching very soon. And you always keep us on our toes and keep us laughing. So thank you, Joe. We'll see you next time on Liberty's Cage.